We can use integer variables to animate the color of shape functions as well. I've started out with my setup method that contains my size function, my draw method that contains my background function, and I'm going to start out with a fill, and I'm going to use a variable for one of the parameters. So we'll start out with 0 for the red, and then and green is where I'm going to put my my integer variable. So I'm going to start with int g. I just picked g because it's the first letter of green. So I'm going to say the variable for greenness, how green it is. And then I'm going to initialize it by saying g, and we'll have it start out with no amount of green. So the starting value is 0. Then I'm going to use that g variable as my green parameter, and the last one is blue, and so I'm going to just start out, we'll have like no blue there also. So right now the starting value is actually 0, starting with 0, 0, so that is going to start as a black fill. Just going to note here that variable for green parameter, and then I'll make a shape. I guess I'll just make a big ellipse. I'll put it in the center, 250, 250, and we'll make it 200, 200. Then, if I didn't add anything else, it's just going to remain black. And then I need that algebraic equation to change the value of green. So I'm going to say g equals g plus 1. So increase the greenness over time. And then it will go from black to green. Now, the value of the variable g is going to continue to get larger as long as the program runs, but the change will max out when green hits 255. So it'll just any number larger than 255, it'll just treat as though it's the max amount of green. If I wanted to change this a little bit, I could maybe like put some blue in there. So now I'm going to start with a dark blue color and then slowly become more teal or kind of bluish greenish. Then another thing I can do, I'm going to do a no stroke here to take away the outline of my shape. And then I'm actually going to put another variable in. I'll call it T for transparency. And I'm going to take the G. I'm not going to use G for just a second. I'm going to put 255 in, so it'll make that green. I'm going to add that transparency value in here. And I'm going to say T equals T minus 1, and I have to remember to initialize it. So if I give my max value for transparency, it's going to look quote-unquote solid. I mean, as solid as a picture on a screen could be. And then it's slowly going to decrease the transparency over time. And again, just like with the color, maxing out at 255, the transparency will, if anything that's less than 0, will just continue to be computed as 0, so it will like no longer have transparency. So I could put the G back in for this value, so as it gets more green, it's also going to get more transparent. And then do the same for another shape. I don't know, just have them a little bit overlapping. So I could do another ellipse at, let's say 200, 250. I'll make this one 200. I'll make it 100 by 100 instead. The same fills and transparency will apply even if it's after these numbers are up between the two. It's the same no stroke fill with transparency will apply to both shapes. So we're going to see, and then let's actually change that so we can see them overlap and one is not just completely inside the other, which is what I intended but mathed out poorly in my mind. So you can see they are both becoming more transparent, but the place where they overlap will stay slightly more opaque looking. till the end.